Sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta. At sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa
WTA is in a meltdown. Umpires were dismissed in Eala-Vekic crushes and bribery bombshells fake once more. The shaking scandal, the essence of tennis. Welcome back to Champions Tennis is the best resource for the most intense, raw tennis worldwide news. If you believe the Auckland's drama was over, so fasten your seatbelts. Since we're going to blow the lid off among the most significant disputes in history of contemporary tennis. We're not just discussing bad lines or missed shots calls right now. We're discussing the WTA has experienced a seismic shift. Foundation at its core. However, amid one star shines brighter than the chaos. Ever, using a racket to muffle the sound ice in her veins and in her hand. Simply reports started coming in hours ago that the Women's Tennis Association has sent waves of absolute shock through the world of tennis. In a move that has departed fans are gasping and insiders are stunned for air, the WTA has allegedly rejected 2 umpires regarding their purported participation in a significant bribery scandal. Yes, you heard correctly. This isn't a slap on the face or a silent suspension the wrist. This is a complete rejection, a firing, a nuclear option never seen before that the WTA hardly ever uses. The concerned officials were allegedly related to that now famous match between Eala, the Filipino sensation, and Wang Senu of China at the ASB Classic in Auckland. This case is quickly being regarded as one of the most significant scandals ever to play women's tennis professionally, posing horrifying queries regarding openness, equity, and the integrity of the game we all adore. The air is sufficiently tense to make a knife cut. Amid the increasing whispers and gossip in the changing areas, according to reports, the 2 coaches together with Wang Senu and Eala themselves were called upon by the competition officials for an urgent gathering, as an unprecedented choice was made, one unprecedented in the history of the classic ASB. Although the specifics of that meetings behind closed doors are still veiled in enigma and shielded by several legal confidentiality, the consequences are already being felt all over the world. Has the match been compromised? Were the dubious calls that irritated supporters and had social media is a contentious aspect of something more sinister, something planned? The inquiry is continuing, but one thing is unquestionably certain. There will never be an ASB Classic. The same, as well as the consequences of this scandal, is just getting started. Dispersed across the tennis community. However, if you consider a significant bribery scandal swirling her name is sufficient to shake the Philippines' calm tennis queen, reconsider. Although the lawyers were rushing, officials were creating statements, and the media was working itself into a frenzy. Performing her speciality, dominating on the court. In an exhibition of mental strength that verges on superhuman, Eala entered the immaculate grass courts at Melbourne's Quang Classic and completely destroyed Danovic of Croatia for the second time in a little more than a week. This was more than a victory. It was a declaration. It was a global message. That no amount of drama in the off-sea court, no scandal, she cannot be shaken by an investigation. Concentrate or lessen her genius. Now, let's dive deep into the action due to this performance is worthy of all focus. Eala has formally maintained her early season momentum into a full-fledged hot streak, with the world of tennis is sitting up and take note. Wednesday, she overcame Danovic of Croatia in straight sets. 6-3 and 6-4 at the esteemed Quang Classic in Melbourne. For those who are keeping score at home, which is consecutive victories over the silver medalist from the Paris Olympics. Simply a few days prior, at the ASB Classic in Auckland defeated Vekic in an exhausting thriller in 3 sets that had enthusiastic supporters. However, this time, she didn't require 3 groups. She didn't require a dramatic return. She was in charge of the story, dictating from the first serve play with the assurance of a seasoned champion. The Quang Classic could be an exhibition competition that provides no ranking points, but you dare not reveal that to Alex. She engaged in play with the intensity and concentration of a Grand Slam final. The prodigy, 20, carried her scorching body directly from Auckland, which she had already arrived at the WTA 250 events semifinals. an accomplishment that defines a career. Recall Auckland's run was only stopped by that contentious, close 3-set match in opposition to Wang Senu. The exact match right now positioned in the middle of this brewing officiating the storm. However, rather than allowing that loss or the environment instead, investigations burden her of collapsing due to the force of the Ella used it as fuel for scrutiny. She channeled all of their annoyance, each question mark, each raised eyebrow into intense, concentrated hostility on the court. The encounter with Vekic Kwong was an absolute masterclass in the evolution of tactics. In their earlier, Eala had to fight when they met in Auckland, working tirelessly to defeat the Croatians' raw strength and expertise. In Kwong, the roles were switched. Was the aggressor. It was she who moved. Vekic moves back and forth like a game of chess. Master, working with pieces on a board, revealing the movement of veterans' flaws and brutal capitalism on each ball that is short. The initial set was a blur of exacting punishment and serving forehands that caused Vekic to struggle with Ella is leading 6-3. Power. The frustration was evident. Vekic's disbelief was growing on his face. Within her eyes. Here she is, an Olympic silver medalist, an accomplished veteran placed in the highest levels of the sport, being outplayed twice out of 10 days by a 20-year-old who is quickly entering the world's elite with the champion's hunger. The subsequent set was a more competitive match involving both players increasing the rallies and their level growing more intense. However, when it most important, Ella's poise was the defining distinction. When the pressure increased to 4 games in total, when lower players may have become more tense or doubted themselves, it was Ella who maintained her composure. She smashed Vekic's serve using a sequence of blistering returns and finished the 6th game. Games to 4 with a winner via forehand that caused the court to divide. Talking following the match, Ella continued to be the image of professionalism and humility, a striking in contrast to the tumultuous storm of scandals surrounding the tour. Her words were deliberate, measured, and demonstrated a level of maturity well beyond her years. "It's really challenging to overcome myself in this sport," she remarked, her voice steady and concentrated in spite of she is surrounded by a media circus. "Tennis is what a humble sport that keeps you definitely grounded. I try to take it a week by week and surround myself with an amazing knowledgeable group. They assist me in setting my objectives and help me stay on course." And what are those objectives? Global dominance appears to come next on the list. Ella recently broke into the top 50 at the conclusion of the previous season. A historic turning point that is not just for her professional life, but for Filipino tennis overall. The first Filipino is her. Woman to reach this position in the contemporary era, bringing the aspirations of a whole country on her shoulders. "My goal is to move inch by inch. And above all, maintain the level that I'm engaging in," she continued with silent resolve. That degree is sky-high stratospheric even at the moment. Currently at a career-high 49th in the Filipino celebrity is searching the world to possess this unwavering confidence. This her triumph at Kwong is her last warm-up prior to the main event, the first Grand Slam of the year. The Australian Open is scheduled to start on January 18th. Additionally, if her exhibition style is anything, Alexa is not merely there to take part or fabricate the numbers. She is there to compete at the top level, to contest the status quo in order to declare her arrival on the largest stage. The entire world has observed her change from a distinguished junior champion, taking home several Grand Slam victories titles from the junior division, to a genuine WTA danger that is capable of competitively with the top players on the planet. These consecutive victories over Eala-Vekic caliber players are the unquestionable evidence. Vekic is not a journeywoman or a pushover. She is a heavy hitter, a former player in the top 20, someone who is adept at navigating the large stages and manage pressure. For Ella to analyze her game so well twice in 10 days implies that the Filipino star has reached a new level in her game, a new degree of strategic awareness and performance. However, we must circle returning to the room's elephant, the scandal that poses a threat to overshadow everything. The timing of this triumph is flawless, acting as a pure diversion from the unattractive the ASB is making headlines. traditional. The claims of bribery and 2 umpires were dismissed, casting a long ominous cloud over the integrity of the games held in Auckland. So, the outcomes are valid. When that confidence is shattered, when corruption comes into play, it endangers the ecosystem as a whole of the athletics. The WTA is aware of this, which is why they've moved so quickly and decisively. The best retaliation for Alex is achievement, and she's serving it cold. Chilly. As the bureaucrats and investigators search through the debris of the controversy, looking at video, speaking with witnesses, and constructing their situation, she is occupied with honing her down the line, backhand. She is occupied examining match footage with her coaching group. She is occupied with getting ready to enter the blue, hard courts of the Australian Open with the assurance of a player who is confident in her ability to defeat the best on any given day in the world. The unprecedented choice made by the officials from the tournament about the scandal could have historical ramifications for the potential rules of tennis involving point adjustments that are retroactive, penalties, or even modifications to how the officiating process is observed and evaluated. However, Ella believes that what matters are the ones she triumphs over on the court, the milestones, the games she rules she succeeds. The story leading up to now, the Australian Open, has changed dramatically. It's no longer solely about which seeds or who will take home the trophy. Will continue well into the second week. It concerns the game's integrity and the up-and-coming talent who play it well, who allowed their rackets to do the conversing. Alex Ella is now the protagonist of this summer in Australia. A shining example of diligence, aptitude, and unwavering mental fortitude in just 1 week tainted by scandal and controversy. Her admirers, the millions of Filipinos who remain staying up late to watch her games, and the tennis enthusiasts worldwide who recognize that pure talent is rallying like never before behind her. They observe in her not merely a victor in the creating, but a hero who transcends the noise, who doesn't offer justifications, who just goes out to perform. As we examine in the direction of Melbourne Park and the main attraction of the Australian Open, the query not only can she succeed, but how far can she lift? Who can stop is the question. Her? Having achieved a top 50 ranking, a deadly all-court match that can destroy Olympic winners, as well as a mental toughness that disregards the largest scandals in WTA history, the sky is actually this young person's limit superstar. The draw for the Australian Open will be made public shortly, and you can wager that no player who is seeded wants to see the name. Alex Ella next to theirs in the initial round. She poses a threat and is in red-hot form, and she's craving more achievement. The tennis community as a whole is observing the development of this scandal with a shock and worry at the same time. Previous social media has been used by players to express how shocked they are by the accusations. Tennis and multiple Grand Slam champions Marion Barulli, an analyst, tweeted that the circumstance is a crisis point for women's tennis and the openness in the inquiry is completely vital. Other well-known voices in the sports have demanded autonomous supervision of all WTA officiating events, indicating that there could be serious vulnerabilities in the system. Actors are able to take advantage. The Tennis Integrity Agency is in charge of anti-corruption initiatives throughout. According to reports, professional tennis has been included in the inquiry as well, indicating that this issue is being given the highest level of seriousness. Additionally, there are queries regarding what occurs next for the participants in the game. Will Wang Senu encounter any penalties if it's found that her team was aware of or took part in any inappropriate behavior? Will Alexa be provided any kind of payment or adjustment of ranking points if it is demonstrated that the officiating had an unfair effect on the result? These are inquiries that the WTA must deal with if the investigation comes to an end. For Alex, the way forward is obvious. She is unable to oversee the inquiry, the headlines, or conjecture. What she can manage is her readiness, her attitude, as well as her performance on the court. Additionally, if her recent outcomes are any indication, she is more than prepared to manage the pressure. Actually, she appears to prosper from it. There is a particular kind of sportsman who excels when the stakes are highest, when the world is observing, when the story is disorganized. One of those athletes seems to be the greater the occasion, the better she plays. Her team is also deserving of recognition. Having a solid network of support is essential to professional tennis, particularly in difficult times. Eala's family, trainers, and coaches have kept her grounded and concentrated on what matters. They have protected her from needless interruptions while still enabling her to recognize the circumstance. It is challenging to strike that balance. But it's necessary for preserving both mental well-being and competitive achievement. The reality that Eala has produced her finest work. Tennis at this time speaks volumes. Regarding the power of her inner circle, examining the potential draws for the Australian Open, Eala might possibly encounter some intriguing matches. As a player who is not seeded, she will stay out of the top 50. Extremely high seeds in the initial round, but might encounter a hazardous floater or a former champion trying to get back on track. At a Grand Slam, every match is a struggle. And the format of the best-of-3 sets in women's tennis, upsets are always feasible. Eala has already demonstrated that she is capable of defeating elite players on her day. If she is able to sustain this degree of play and possibly even improve it a little bit on the large stage, a long run is completely accessible. The Australian Open has a history of breakout performances from young players. This is the tournament where stars are born, where jobs are started, where the next generation announces itself to the world. Could this be Alex's moment? Could this be the tournament where she goes from rising prospect to household name? The ingredients are all there. The form is excellent. The confidence is sky high. The motivation, especially after the controversy in Auckland, is off the charts. All she needs to do is bring that same intensity, that same tactical sharpness, and that same unshakable belief to Melbourne Park. One thing that makes Eala particularly dangerous is her versatility. She is comfortable playing from the baseline in long rallies, but she also has the ability to come forward and finish points at the net. Her serve has improved dramatically over the past year, adding another weapon to her arsenal. And perhaps most importantly, she has shown the ability to problem-solve during matches, to adjust her tactics when something isn't working, to find solutions under pressure. These are the traits of a champion, the qualities that separate good players from great ones. The Filipino tennis community is absolutely electric right now. Social media is flooded with messages of support, with fans creating highlight videos, designing posters, and organizing watch parties for her Australian Open matches. This kind of grassroots enthusiasm is powerful and can provide an emotional boost to an athlete competing far from home. Eala has spoken in the past about how much it means to represent her country, to carry the Philippine flag onto the biggest stages in tennis. That sense of purpose, that feeling of playing for something bigger than yourself, can be a tremendous source of motivation. As the investigation into the bribery scandal continues, more details are likely to emerge in the coming days. The tennis media will be all over the story, digging for information, interviewing sources, and trying to piece together exactly what happened. The pressure on the WTA to provide answers will only intensify. Fans deserve to know the truth. Players deserve to know that the system is fair, and the officials who were dismissed deserve due process, even as their careers hang in the balance. This is a messy, complicated situation with no easy answers. But it's a situation that the sport must confront head-on. In the meantime, Eala will do what she has always done. She will train, she will prepare, and she will compete with everything she has. The Australian Open represents an incredible opportunity for her to make history, to achieve something special, to cement her status as one of the most exciting young players in the world. The scandal will be a footnote in her career if she continues to perform at this level. The wins, the rankings, the titles, those are what will define her legacy. Moreover, right now, all of those things are pointing in the right direction. Thus, tennis fans, keep your eyes peeled, because this story is far from over. The drama off the court is heating up, with more revelations about the bribery scandal likely to break in the coming hours and days. We will be right here to bring you every update, every leak, every official statement, and every twist in this unfolding saga. But do not let the scandal overshadow the brilliance we are witnessing on the court. Do not let the negativity distract from the incredible achievement of a young athlete who is living her dream and inspiring millions in the process. Alex Ella is the real deal, and her Australian Open campaign is shaping up to be absolutely legendary. This is a developing story, and the landscape is changing by the minute. The next few days will be crucial in determining how this scandal is resolved and